What's going on, YouTube? First off, let me just start by saying thank you for all of the likes and comments on the Darkrai video. You guys killed it on that. And we're gonna take a little break from Sanqui Summer to do a Pokemon that I've been requested quite a bit. And you'll notice we've got a Gen 2 color sprite on this ROM. Let me know if you guys like this. I might be moving forward with this with my future Gen 1 ROMs. But today, we're going to be covering Tentacruel. If we take a look at its stats, they're actually pretty good. I mean, I never knew Tentacruel's stats were like this in Gen 1. Base 120 special, 100 speed. Its HP attack and defense are good enough, but I mean, we're not going to be really using physical attacks except in the beginning of the game here because, well, aside from Wrap, we have Acid as our attacking move. And looking at our level up moves and TMs, I mean, we learn a badge boosting move in Barrier. We get access to Blizzard, Ice Beam, Mega Drain, Surf. Not too bad. However, Tentacruel does have some disadvantages. One being that it's in the slow level up group. The same level up group as legendary Pokemon like Mewtwo and Arceus, who we've done on the channel. In the description of all of my challenge runs now, I have a link going to a tier list for all the runs I've done. And within this tier list, I have another section for Pokemon that I plan on doing, and I give them a prediction of where I think they're going to finish tier-wise, like S tier, A tier, B tier. And I predicted Tentacruel would finish in the B tier, mostly because of slow level up group, and I figured it would have some struggles in the mid-game. But there's only one way to figure out if I was right. Let's just get into the run. So first and foremost, we're not going to be doing Brock on minimum battles. Is it possible? Yes. Teo, which is the name of my rival, or better known in the Pokemon world as RBY Pokemon Challenges, did a Tentacruel run about 9 to 10 months ago. He has a live stream and an edited run of it. I'll leave an info card here for you to check it out. But as far as Brock goes, we almost got a first try victory. And I know that's kind of spoiling things, but just check out this battle. I've sped it up a lot because, well, I had to. I start by confusing Geodude, and it manages to hit itself every time in confusion. Best luck ever. I just go for Acid trying to get defense drops, which I do. And when Geodude does have a chance to attack, its tackle misses. And I'm able to just trap it in Wrap and eventually take it down, not losing a single point of HP. However, against Onix is when things get tough, because Onix has Screech, which lowers Tentacruel's worst stat, its defense, by 2 stages. Onix also outspeeds me since it's 5 levels higher, and Onix also gets lucky because it barely hits itself with confusion. And when it does hit its tackle, it does half my HP. It doesn't help that I kept missing Supersonics as well. Thanks, 55% accuracy. While I am able to get Onix into red health, since it outspeeds me, once it snaps out of confusion and is able to hit a tackle, it knocks me out. Before trying again, I figured the easiest and quickest fix was to battle the Junior Light Years trainer, and instead of being level 8 and hitting level 9 after I knock out Geodude, I'm level 9 and will be level 10 once I knock out Geodude. Which, the battle against Geodude is just like the first battle, where I don't take a single point of damage. I get great confusion luck with it hitting itself, and I can wrap it down to finish it off. Now I just need that good luck against Onix. I'm going to speed up this battle as well, but Onix starts the last battle the same as this one, using Screech and then Bide. While it uses Bide, I go for Wrap since Bide will only count the first hit of Wrap, or the last, whichever it is, and I manage to get its HP down to a quarter before it finally hits itself. It goes for Bide again after snapping out of confusion, and I get some good luck with Wrap trapping Onix, and confusion luck with Onix hitting itself to bring it under half HP. I manage to get it into red health again, and I really can't get hit by a tackle at this point because it would probably do a lot. And after about a 4-minute battle in real time, I managed to beat Brock without losing a single point of HP. And I wanted to see my time after beating Brock, 19 minutes in-game time. I was at about 14 or 15 minutes, I believe, before battling him. Next up is Route 3 as we make our way to Mount Moon, where we can make quick work of all of the trainers here. We have Acid for the bug catchers and any Pidgeys or Rattatas we face, and we have Wrap for any poison types like Ekans or Nidorans we see. We are in the slow level up group, and the trainers don't take too long to beat, and the experience will help down the line when we aren't so over leveled, or really under leveled for when we get to, say, the mid game or the end game with the Elite Four. Once we get to Mount Moon, I go straight for TM12 Water Gun, but it won't stay on our moveset long because we're gonna get Bubble Beam after we beat Misty. And originally I recorded this Super Nerd battle thinking it would be difficult for Tentacruel, but Water Gun just one-shot all 3 of his Pokemon. Crit probably mattered on all of them. We're going to go ahead and take the superior fossil, the Dome Fossil, which I need to do a Kabutops run eventually one of these days, and of course, our post-Mount Moon timestamp. 36 minutes in-game time, pretty good time for the top tier Pokemon on the tier list. But now we have the choice of Rival 2 or Misty. And I opted for Misty, because I thought she'd be easier, and the quicker we get access to Bubble Beam, the better. But I was slightly wrong. I thought since her AI wouldn't make her use water moves, this would be simple. But I also forgot to heal before the battle. After battling the trainers in her gym, I'm starting the battle at 31 HP, and I get taken down to 21 HP after a crit tackle from Staryu. It does get me down to 15 HP, but I get super lucky with Wrap getting multiple hits and actually hitting, and her first Pokemon goes down. When Starmie comes out, Misty goes for X Defend on it right away, and I confuse it. It outspeeds me, so I just try to go for Wrap, which isn't doing a lot of damage thanks to the X Defend. And once Wrap is over, confusion wears off. It hits a tackle, crits, and knocks me out. I decided to battle Rival 2 instead because I did try Misty again, and the battle went the same. Hopefully some extra levels will help out with her. He leads with Pidgeotto, who leads off with Quick Attack. Water Gun's doing about a third, and we do outspeed when it doesn't use Quick Attack, but it hits me with a Sand Attack. It hits me with another Quick Attack before we knock it out, and this is where the battle gets annoying. Abra can't attack me, so once we hit it, we do knock it out. We level up here, and we have the option to learn Poison Sting, but Acid is stronger, so we're not going to. Rattata hits me with a Quick Attack. Thankfully, Water Gun hits and one-shots it. Last is Bulbasaur, and this is where it gets annoying. I miss my first 2 attacks, and it just chips me down a little bit with Tackle and Vine Whip. Thankfully, my second Acid gets a defense drop, and we do hit and knock it out. So now we can head through Nugget Bridge to hopefully level up some more to make Misty a lot easier. And the trainers on Nugget Bridge and on the way to Bill's house really pose no threat. There's even 2 optional hikers on the way with rock Pokemon that are quick to knock out for easy experience. One guarding an Ether, which will really come in handy in case we ever need it. And this is one of those areas in the early game where the quick extra experience will really help out for the later portion of the game. Now, when we backtrack and battle Misty, we're at level 21, the same level as her ace. And this is actually my second battle against her since leveling up. I lost the first time. I learned from my mistake. I don't try to confuse Staryu, I just go for Acid right away, and it's 3 Acids to take it out. Next is Starmie, who Misty uses an X Defend on right away, and once again, instead of trying to confuse it, I just go for Acid right away. I get a crit and a defense drop. Starmie doesn't really crit me, which is good, and after just 4 to 5 Acids, it goes down. But the biggest prize of this is that we can get TM11 Bubble Beam, which we're going to put on our moveset right away. We have an upgrade over Water Gun, and this is going to be our best water move that we have until we get to Fuchsia City and can get access to Surf. We're going to head to the SS Sand now. We're going to skip Body Slam because Tentacruel can't learn it. We're going to get the Gentleman Candy on our way out and battle Rival 3. He leads with Pidgeotto. I'm going to go for Bubble Beam, which nearly one-shots it, and I get hit with Sand Attack. It hits me with a Quick Attack before we knock it out. Thankfully against Raticate, we hit Bubble Beam, it one-shots it. Against Kadabra, I go for Acid because it has weaker physical defense. It just goes for Teleport. We're able to hit it again and knock it out. Ivysaur, however, is when I start to miss. It hits me with Leech Seed, and starts chipping me down with Vine Whip. I keep missing some acids, getting hit with Vine Whip, and I hit with acid, don't get a defense drop, I hit another, I do get a defense drop, and I just hope to hit because it's close, and we do, and we knock it out. I feel like the luck so far has been mostly on my side in this run. The confusion luck against Brock's Geodude, getting hit with Sand Attack and hitting when I need to. It's been great. Anyways, as we're saying bye to the SSN, we're going to skip Surge for now and pick it up after Rock Tunnel, which exiting Rock Tunnel, we're at 1 hour 25 minutes in-game time. And the mid-game is where things really open up for Tentacruel. We're going to have access to nearly all the TMs and HM for our final moveset. I'm going to head straight to the Celadon department store for 2 fresh waters, one of which I trade for TM13 Ice Beam. I'm then going to head and pick up Fly because I know I'm going to backtrack to Vermilion soon, we still have to battle Surge. And I head over to the Rocket Game Corner to battle Giovanni, who with the water type, I mean, you guys have seen this time and time again. His first 2 Pokemon are one-shot with Bubble Beam, while Kangaskhan is a 2-shot with Bubble Beam. Normally after beating Giovanni, I would head to the Pokemon Tower in Lavender to fight Rival 4 and rescue Mr. Fuji. But instead I'm going to battle Erica. With having both Ice Beam and Acid, her gym is a great training spot. Acid can take out Pokemon like Execute, and Ice Beam for all the grass poison types. Plus, I have an Ether to restore my PP for Ice Beam instead of backtracking to the Pokemon Center to save time. And even though we're only 2 levels higher than Erica's highest level Pokemon, all the extra training in her gym really helped out. Victory Bell is a 2-shot with Ice Beam, where its auto crit Razor Leaf doesn't do too much to me. Tangela is up next, and it's her bulkiest of her 3 Pokemon, and Ice Beam one-shots it. Crit probably mattered. Vileplume will withstand an Ice Beam since Victory Bell did, and it puts me to sleep. It then goes for Mega Drain, and then Petal Dance, which is worst case scenario. And I start to get worried, but I wake up, I'm down to 28 HP, we knock out Vileplume, and that's Erica. And for beating her, we get TM21 Mega Drain, which Tentacruel can learn, and it will go on our moveset eventually, but I can still milk some use out of Acid. With Erica out of the way, let's go ahead and backtrack to Lieutenant Surge and get him out of the way so we can use Fly outside of battle. With all the extra levels, Raichu's Thunderbolt no longer scares me. First up is Voltorb. We use Bubble Beam, it takes it down in 1 hit. Pikachu, I believe it has worse stats than Voltorb, and it also goes down in 1 hit. Raichu, I switched to Ice Beam for some reason, trying to get a freeze, I don't get it. Thundershock hits and paralyzes me. Thunderbolt hits and I tank it well, and a second Ice Beam knocks it out. Next up after Surge is Rival 4, and there really isn't much to say about this battle. Pidgeotto uses Quick Attack, but we knock it out with Ice Beam. Gyarados does worry me some because we do half, it hits me with a Dragon Rage, but our next Ice Beam knocks it out. And then it's just one-shot Bubble Beam on Growlithe. Kadabra, one-shot with Acid. And Ivysaur, we have Ice Beam for it, so yeah, this rival battle was pretty easy. And Pokemon Tower itself, there's not much to talk about, but you might think I'd go to Silph Co afterwards. Wrong. I actually make my way to Cycling Road to head to Fuchsia City, head through the Safari Zone, and then pick up Tentacruel's best water move, in my opinion, Surf. Afterwards, I go to take on Koga. And being part poison type with base 120 special, it's a pretty easy fight. Against the first Coughing, Surf knocks it out in 1 hit. We level up, which this Gen 2 color palette is nice to see the experience bar. I go for Ice Beam on Muck when I should have just went for Surf, which doesn't knock it out. It goes for Minimize, thankfully we hit and we knock it out. Against the second Coughing, I set up a barrier and prep for Wheezing, and it hits me with Smokescreen. And I miss not once, not twice, 3 times in a row before we finally hit it with Surf. It's able to set up 2 more Smokescreens on me because we didn't knock it out, and I switch to Acid to try to preserve some PP for Wheezing. Finally goes down. Wheezing comes out, I miss Ice Beam, and it blows up right away, which we tank like a champion. With the Soul Badge in hand and access to use Surf outside of battle, I actually make my way towards Cinnabar Island. Blaine's gym is a great training spot for Tentacruel, and getting a boost to our special will help out against Sabrina, since all of her Pokemon are fast, special attackers anyway. While going through Pokemon Mansion, of course I'm going to pick up the TM for Blizzard, it's going to come in handy later on, and then we can go ahead and take on Blaine. And Growlithe is only going to spam Agility against us, because it's a Psychic move. I set up 3 barriers, and I began to sweep his entire team, up until Arcanine. Arcanine is able to hang on from a Surf and hits me with a critical hit takedown, but luckily we're faster and can take it out the next turn. Now with all these extra levels and a boost to our speed and special stat, it's finally time for Silph Co, and time to take on Rival Fivel. Before doing so, I make a pit stop to the 10th floor to grab the Carbos and the rare candy. No Earthquake in this run, Tentacruel can't learn it. As far as Rival Fivel, we know that he can be a wall for most Pokemon, but not for Tentacruel. Pidgeot is the lead, Ice Beam one-shots it. We level up after the Pidgeot, which is great, because now we're free to Badge Boost. Gyarados is next, Ice Beam doesn't knock it out, it goes for Leer, and our next Ice Beam crits to knock it out. Against Growlithe, I start by setting up barriers. I want to set up 3 because Alakazam worries me. It goes for Roar, Leer, and Takedown, which does pathetic damage, before one Surf knocks it out. Alakazam is next, and this is the mon I was most worried about. Acid doesn't knock it out, it hits me with a huge Psybeam that crits, and our Surf finishes it off. I went for Acid because it has weaker physical defense. Last is Venusaur, and Ice Beam gets a huge clutch critical hit to take it out. So I will be the first to admit, it's looking like I was dead wrong about Tentacruel's tier finish. And no picking up Lapras in this run because we already have our Surf and Strength user. Next up is Giovanni, and there isn't much to say. I set up 2 barriers on the Nidorino, and then I one-shot sweep his entire team with Surf. The badge boost probably wasn't needed, but I guess better safe than sorry. Now it's finally time to take on Sabrina as we play the game of which Pokemon to set up on. I start by surfing Kadabra. It hangs on and hits me with Psychic that does 1/3 of my health. Our next one knocks it out. We level up after Kadabra, so we're free to badge boost as much as we want. I try against the Mr. Mime, and its Confusion crits and confuses me. I hit myself as it sets up Light Screen, I hit myself again, and Confusion takes me out. I try again immediately, but probably have even worse luck to start out with. Once again, Surf doesn't one-shot Kadabra, it hits me with Psybeam that crits and confuses me. Thankfully we get through, we knock it out, we level up again, but we're probably not going to try setting up. Mr. Mime comes out, we get through Confusion, Surf one-shots it, that's good. We make it to Venomoth, we get through Confusion, it hangs on from Surf but hits me with a weak Leech Life. Thankfully we're out of Confusion, Surf knocks it out. Last is Alakazam, I go for Ice Beam trying to get a freeze, I don't get it, and Psybeam takes me out. And I thought of a simple solution. I level up immediately after the Kadabra. I'm going to just battle the trainer in the room before Sabrina's, level up, and then use rare candies to level 50 to see if that gives me the favorable ranges I need. And it turns out it did. Surf one-shots the Kadabra. It one-shots the Mr. Mime. It one-shots Venomoth. And Alakazam, it doesn't one-shot, it does over half, but it just goes for Reflect, and we take it out. Giovanni is all that's left. We're at 2 hours 49 minutes in-game time before the battle, and this one is just like the Silph Co battle minus the badge boost setup. Surf is able to one-shot sweep his entire team, we can just move on to Rival 6. And really there's only one Pokemon of the rivals that worries me, which is Alakazam. We still have to deal with it in this battle, and one more. As always, Pidgeot is his lead, I go for Ice Beam, it one-shots it. Next up is Rhyhorn, and it's the perfect Pokemon to set up against. I go ahead and set up 3 barriers for badge boost. It hits me with Stomp, and 2 Fury attacks that hit twice, one of them crit, so thank God it only hit twice. Surf one-shots it. Next up is Gyarados, and a crit Ice Beam nearly takes it out. It goes for Bite, doesn't do a lot, our next Ice Beam takes it out. Next up is Growlithe, I go for Surf, it one-shots it, but we level up going into the Alakazam, so all of our badge boosts are gone. I decide to go for Ice Beam, I don't get a freeze but I get a crit, it crits Psybeam, and Surf takes it out the next turn. Last is Venusaur, I go for Ice Beam, does over half, nearly knocking it out, and it goes for Vine Whip instead of the auto crit Razor Leaf, so we get the win. And looking back on this run, I don't know if I've mentioned it earlier in the video or not, but I feel like maybe going with Blastoise would have been the hardest challenge for Tentacruel because Venusaur really hasn't done much to us this run. But now we can take a look ahead and move on to the league. Outside of Lorelei's chamber is when I'm finally going to get rid of Acid and teach in its place Mega Drain. Now at the beginning of the video when you saw the TM list, I bet you thought I would pair Acid with Swords Dance to do some big poison stab damage. But Tentacruel's special is so much better than its attack stat, and its defense stat is the worst stat. And Swords Dance and Barrier, you can only use them 3 times in battle anyway, so my thought process at the time was, why not boost my worst stat of the two since I'm going to be using special moves anyway. But you saw our pre-Lorelei timestamp, 3 hours 7 minutes in-game time. Let's see if Tentacruel can first try the league. Lorelei's lead is Dewgong, who is just going to spam Rest against us, because her AI seeing us as a poison type and Rest being a psychic type move. I take the time to set up 3 barriers, and then hit Dewgong with Ice Beam so that it falls asleep. Mega Drain does almost half, and a second one takes it out. Next up is Cloyster. Mega Drain doesn't one-shot it, doesn't surprise me, it's a 40 base power move. Spike Cannon hits me 3 times, and Mega Drain takes it out as we heal up to full. Slowbro, like Dewgong, will just spam Amnesia against us. Mega Drain does over half, and I switch to Surf to preserve some PP for Lapras. She does heal with a Super Potion, but thankfully our last Surf crits to knock out Slowbro. Next up is Jinx, and we get a critical hit with Surf to take it down in 1 hit. The crit probably mattered. Last is Lapras. Mega Drain does about a third. Body Slam does nothing thanks to all of our barriers. Another Mega Drain will knock it out. It does confuse us, but we get through to take it down. So 1 up, 1 down for the league. And next up is Bruno, so I'll just quickly go over this one. We one-shot all of his Pokemon except Machamp, who just goes for Fissure, and then we take it down with Surf. Next up is Agatha, and on paper, this battle worried me, because most of her Pokemon, like Sabrina, who was someone who we lost to a few times, are fast special attackers. Whereas Golbat is a pushover, and Arbok, if you don't one-shot it, can paralyze you with Glare. I probably should have restored my power points before this battle as well. Against the first Gengar, my first Surf does crit it, nearly taking it out, but it puts me to sleep. I'm asleep, Confuse Ray, okay, asleep, Confuse Ray again, asleep, Super Potion, and Wake Up Dream Eater, okay. We get through the confusion. I go for Ice Beam when I should have just went for Surf, which Surf takes it out the next turn. We level up, going into the Golbat. I set up a barrier, hoping it uses Haze, and it does. Sweet. Confusion's removed, Ice Beam can one-shot it. Haunter's next. I go for Surf. Doesn't quite take it out, but it just goes for Dream Eater, and Ice Beam knocks it out. Next up is Arbok. I go for Ice Beam, and I get a lucky freeze. I decide to set up 3 barriers at this point for Badge Boost and take it out. Last Gengar time. Surf does about half, it goes for Nightshade, and Ice Beam takes it out. Okay, Agatha done. And that battle could have been so much different had she just used Dream Eater when I was asleep. And next up is Lance, who really the only Pokemon we have to worry about is Gyarados. And even then, it's really not going to be that big of a problem. And let me stop rambling and let's just get into the Lance battle. Gyarados is the lead, Ice Beam does a quarter and it hits me with Leer. I set up a barrier, here's Dragon Rage, another Ice Beam, and another Dragon Rage. And even though it goes down, I'm at 115 HP, the battle's over. I'm setting up Badge Boost for no reason against the first Dragonair here because we're going to level immediately. But 3 out of 4 of Lance's Pokemon are just going to use Agility or Barrier. I mean, Aerodactyl could have been a problem, but it just went for Supersonic. And yeah, Lance was pretty easy. Not even pretty easy, very easy. I'm going to use the remainder of my rare candies, because why not? And I really don't want to be one-shot by a critical hit Psychic by Alakazam. I'm also going to teach Blizzard for this battle for some extra power, along with using the remaining PP ups on it. And after healing up, Tentacruel has made it to the champion on its first attempt. Let's see if it can finish the job. The champion leads with Pidgeot. I go ahead and start to set up barriers. I get a Whirlwind after the first one, barrier again, Wing Attack, that's fine, it doesn't do a lot, third barrier, and Wing Attack, crits, okay, let's just go ahead and go for Blizzard. we're gonna one-shot it. But next is Alakazam, the Pokemon I was most worried about in this battle. I go for Blizzard, I'm really hoping for a freeze, I don't get it, Psybeam hits me, does some decent damage. Thankfully it doesn't crit, we knock it out next turn with another Blizzard, although I should've just went for Surf. Against Rhydon, we can nearly heal up to full as Mega Drain one-shots it and heals us up to 198 HP. Next is Gyarados, I'm gonna go for Blizzard, does about 3/4, it misses Leer, I miss Blizzard as it hits Leer, and I decide to go for Mega Drain just to preserve PP for Venusaur and heal up. It hits me with another Leer as we finish it, and we can Badge Boost once more with Barrier, which is what I do against Arcanine here. It goes for Roar, and of course, Surf is going to one-shot it. Last is Venusaur, and as long as Blizzard hits, we should one-shot it. There's the hit, and there's the one-shot. So Tentacruel. Pretty easy champion battle, and pretty easy time overall with the league. And really overall a pretty easy run. And a lot of folks told me that they thought Tentacruel would be one of the top Pokemon, along with Starmie. I still plan on doing a Starmie run, that'll probably be in the fall. But as far as Tentacruel's final time, level 63, 3 hours 21 minutes. If we look at the overall tier list including the Sanqui runs, Tentacruel would earn its place 4th overall on the tier list behind Arceus, and ahead of Meganium. I feel bad for Meganium, it just beat the game on minimum battles and under 3 hours, but it struggled so much with Lance and the champion it's hard to put it higher. And if we separate the tier list to just our Kanto solo runs, to me, I have to put it 2nd overall to Blastoise. Yes, Kingler was 2 levels lower and finished the game 10 minutes faster, but it had a struggle with Agatha. Granted, that run was over a year ago, and not only has my skill improved, but so has my editing skills and overall video quality. And I probably could have shaved some time off of Tentacruel's run without, doing some dumb badge boost like I did against Lance. Anyway, thank you for the continued support on the channel. We're approaching 400 subscribers, so if you like the content on the channel, consider subscribing and hit that like button. I know I said at the end of the Darkrai video we'd be doing another Gen 4 Mon in the next video, but there's actually a Gen 3 Mon I want to run. And with no abilities, and with its base stats off the charts, I want to see if it can mow through Kanto. If you have a guess as to who it is, let me know in the comments. Take care everybody, I'll see you in the next video.